At Two Realms City, Ye Xuan stands alone before thousands of black-armored cavalry, refusing to bow while his homeland is humiliated. In that moment, his battle intent awakens, and a new power rises within him. But the arrival of Jiang Kingdom's legendary 9th princess changes everything. Now the road to the imperial capital opens, where Kangmu Academy, royal politics, and dangerous geniuses await. Now let us follow the next developments in The First Sword God, Episode 6. Was Ye Xuan trying to meddle in someone else's business? At this moment, that was what everyone was thinking. When they saw him charge toward those black-armored cavalrymen, everyone was certain that Ye Xuan truly intended to interfere. He was courting death. That was the thought in their minds. Although Two Realms City currently belonged to Jiang Kingdom, this place could almost be considered within Tang Kingdom's sphere of influence. Even Lu Xiaoran did not dare act recklessly here, afraid of provoking the countless black-armored cavalrymen. Yet Ye Xuan had acted. Many people began blaming him for stirring up trouble for no reason. If he drew out a whole army of black-armored cavalry, would that not bring disaster upon everyone? Not far away, Han Xiangmeng glanced at Ye Xuan as he charged forward and shook her head. This person never thinks about the consequences when he acts. He only knows how to cause trouble. The old man beside her nodded. Doing something that takes effort but brings no benefit has no meaning at all. It may even bring a great calamities. Han Xiangmeng nodded lightly and looked into the distance. Ye Xuan had already rushed to the city gate. Before countless eyes, the leading black-armored cavalryman who was about to charge out of the city suddenly turned his head. The moment he turned, a bench smashed toward him. His expression changed and he hurriedly raised his hand to block. Boom. The bench shattered and the cavalryman was sent flying. Ye Xuan grabbed the frightened horse with one hand and pulled hard, forcing it to stop. Then with his other hand, he gently supported the girl on the horse and brought her down. He took off his outer robe and draped it over her body. Then he pointed toward Ye Lion and the others not far away. Go over there, it is safe there. The girl only looked at Ye Xuan and said nothing. Ye Xuan lightly patted her face and said, remember this, only the powerless seek death. As long as you are alive, there are infinite possibilities. After saying that, he picked up half of the broken wooden bench from the ground and charged toward the cavalryman not far away. Ye Xuan ran faster and faster. The black-armored cavalryman also rushed toward him. On the other side, the leading cavalryman roared madly, kill him for me. Very soon, Ye Xuan reached the cavalryman. When he was only half a zhang away from one of them, he suddenly leaped into the air and smashed the broken half of the bench onto the man's head. Boom! In an instant, the cavalryman flew out. Ye Xuan did not stop. He threw the sharp piece of broken wood, PFFT. The sharp wood pierced through the cavalryman's throat, killing him on the spot. But at that moment, several more cavalrymen had already rushed in front of him. Ye Xuan did not draw his sword, he charged forward savagely. Before countless eyes, Ye Xuan cut straight through the group of cavalrymen. Very soon, several of them fell to the ground one after another, all dead. In just a brief moment, only the leading black-armored rider remained in the field. These cavalrymen were all experienced on the battlefield, and their combat strength was naturally not weak. But Ye Xuan had also experienced countless battles. His personal battle experience was greater than all of theirs combined. Moreover, most of them were below the 5th level of the unceasing realm. Naturally, these ordinary cavalrymen were no match for him. Ye Xuan looked at the leading black-armored rider not far away. At this moment, the man was somewhat flustered. He wanted to flee, but Ye Xuan was even faster. He rushed over like a whirlwind. Seeing Ye Xuan charging at him, the black-armored rider knew he could not escape. His expression immediately turned savage. He turned around and thrust the spear in his hand toward Ye Xuan, Kai Transformation Realm. Ye Xuan did not dodge this spear. He allowed it to strike his chest, boom. He merely retreated half a step. The spear did not pierce through his body, Golden Body Realm. His physical body was far tougher than an ordinary person's. The black-armored rider's expression changed drastically. He was about to withdraw his spear, but Ye Xuan did not give him the chance. Ye Xuan lifted his leg and swept a kick across the rider's head. Boom. The black-armored rider crashed into a wall. As the black-armored rider struggled to stand, Ye Xuan stepped on his chest. The man looked at Ye Xuan with hatred. You will die, you will definitely die. Ye Xuan was about to strike when a voice came from nearby. Let me kill him, may I? Ye Xuan turned his head and was somewhat surprised to find that the speaker was the girl he had just saved. The girl looked about 18 or 19. Her appearance was delicate, her figure graceful, but at this moment her face was as cold as ice. Ye Xuan thought for a moment, then nodded. He pulled out the black-armored rider's saber and handed it to her. She glanced at him, then took the saber and walked forward. Just as she was about to attack, an angry shout rang out, "Stop!" Ye Xuan looked toward the voice and saw a fat man hurrying over with a group of soldiers. They were not soldiers of Tang Kingdom. They were soldiers of Jiang Kingdom. More precisely, they were Jiang Kingdom soldiers stationed in Two Realms City. And this fat man was the city lord of Two Realms City. The fat man led his furious men up to Ye Xuan and the girl. He pointed angrily at Ye Xuan's face and asked, "Who allowed you to act?" Ye Xuan frowned. The fat man then glared at the girl beside Ye Xuan. "Take her away." One of the soldiers rushed toward the girl. She instinctively stepped behind Ye Xuan, but the soldier did not stop. At that moment Ye Xuan raised his hand, slap. The soldier was sent flying by Ye Xuan's slap. The fat man was stunned, then roared angrily, "Are you trying to rebel?" Ye Xuan slowly clenched his right fist and answered, "Those Tang Kingdom soldiers entered the city, raped, robbed, and killed, and you ignored them. Now that I want to kill them, you come to interfere. What? Are you people from Tang Kingdom?" The fat man shouted angrily, "Do you know the consequences of killing them? Not far outside the city is the camp of those black-armored cavalrymen. If you kill them, it is the same as giving them an excuse to send troops and attack Two Realms City. Doing this will cause even more people to die. Do you understand?" Ye Xuan sneered. "You are afraid that you will die, aren't you?" The fat man's face became ugly. He waved his hand. "Stop talking nonsense. This is Two Realms City and I am the one in charge here. You." Ye Xuan did not even bother looking at him. He turned to the girl and said, "Go kill him." The girl glanced at Ye Xuan, then turned and walked toward the black-armored rider lying on the ground. Seeing this, the fat man's face turned pale. He roared, "Seize them." At that moment, Ye Xuan grabbed him by the throat. The soldiers immediately froze in place, not daring to move. Ye Xuan looked straight at the fat man and said, "The people I hate most are useless trash like you, fierce toward your own people, but as soft as dogs toward outsiders. Say one more word and I will cut off your heads, you." The fat man looked at Ye Xuan in terror and no longer dared speak. Ah. At that moment, a miserable scream rang out. Everyone turned and saw the girl holding the saber with both hands, stabbing it into the black-armored rider's throat. Her face was covered in fresh blood. After killing the rider, the girl released the saber. Her whole body collapsed against the wall like mud, her eyes empty, no one knowing what she was thinking. You have caused a great disaster." The fat man pointed at Ye Xuan, trembling all over. Ye Xuan ignored him. He walked to the girl, said nothing, and placed about 10 gold coins in her hand. "Live well." Then he turned and left. The girl stared blankly at Ye Xuan's departing back. At that moment, the thunder of horse hooves came from outside the city. This time it was not just a few horses, but countless horses. When everyone in the city sensed this, their expressions changed, including Lu Xiaoran and the others not far away. The fat man glanced outside the city. In the next instant, his face turned deathly pale. It's over, it's over. It's the black-armored cavalry, they are coming, they are coming." After saying that, he angrily pointed at Ye Xuan and cursed, "It is all because of you. You have harmed everyone in the city, it is you." The surrounding civilians also looked at Ye Xuan with hatred. Clearly, they were also blaming him for meddling and bringing disaster. At that moment, the mysterious woman's voice sounded in Ye Xuan's mind. "How does it feel to do something righteous and be treated like this?" Ye Xuan replied indifferently, "What I do only needs to be worthy of my own heart. I do not do it for others to see. How they look at it is their business." The mysterious woman said nothing more. Ye Xuan slowly walked toward the distant city gate. At this moment, Ye Lion suddenly shouted from not far away, "Brother." Ye Xuan trembled slightly and stopped. He turned back and glanced at Ye Lion, smiling. "It's all right. Order a bowl of noodles for Big Brother, I'll be back soon." After saying that, he turned and walked toward the city gate. Behind him, Ye Lion watched him with tears falling down her face. Ye Xuan walked out of the city gate. After only a few steps, he suddenly stopped and turned back. He saw that the girl was silently following him. At that moment, the city gate suddenly closed. Before the city gate, one man and one woman faced several thousand black-armored cavalrymen. Several thousand black-armored cavalry charged together with tremendous force. Even Ye Xuan was shaken by the sight. He knew he could not defeat them. He truly could not defeat them. Forget him, even An Lanxiu at the Skysword realm would not necessarily be able to stop the charge of several thousand cavalrymen. He could not win, but he still wanted to fight. Ye Xuan himself did not know why he wanted to fight. He only knew that he wanted to fight. "Call me a Yu," the girl behind Ye Xuan suddenly said. He nodded. "My name is Ye Xuan." A Yu looked at him. "Ye Xuan, I will remember it. Even in the next life, I will not forget it." Ye Xuan did not hear what she said, because he had already walked toward the cavalrymen. Looking at their fierce momentum, his eyes gradually became dazed. He did not notice that the Lanxiu sword inside his body was trembling violently. Was he afraid of death? Ye Xuan was also afraid of death. But many times, there were things one had to do even if death awaited. Ye Xuan did not understand matters of state. But he knew that he, Ye Xuan, was a person of Jiang Kingdom. His country had many flaws, but it was still his country. He was a person of Jiang Kingdom. Even if the country was not good, it was still his home. Even if his own country was not good, it was not the turn of outsiders to humiliate it. Fight. This time he was not fighting for his sister, nor for himself. Ye Xuan walked faster and faster. Facing the fierce black-armored cavalrymen, he had no fear at all, only a battle will that surged to the heavens. Ha ha ha. Ye Xuan suddenly laughed wildly. "Come." The moment his voice fell, his body trembled slightly. In the next instant, an invisible force surged out from within him. What the hell? Inside the World Prison Tower, the mysterious woman's voice suddenly rang out. "Battle intent, what is this?" A sword cultivator has not comprehended sword intent, but instead comprehended battle intent. Have I been teaching a fake sword cultivator, battle intent realm? A realm that was vague and intangible, yet truly existed. There were many kinds of intent realms in the world. Sword intent, spear intent, fist intent, killing intent, battle intent, and so on. Each kind of intent realm was extremely difficult to comprehend. For example, sword intent within all of Jiang Kingdom, there was currently only one sword Dao Grandmaster. In other words, only one person in all of Jiang Kingdom had comprehended sword intent. These intent realms were difficult to comprehend, because there was no fixed method for cultivating them. Whether one could comprehend them depended entirely on oneself. But once comprehended, their combat power would increase tremendously. It also meant they had entered a different level. At this moment, Ye Xuan possessed endless battle will. This battle will was not for a single person, nor for his sister. As for what it was truly for, even he could not say clearly. He only knew that even if there were not several thousand cavalrymen before him, but tens of thousands, he would still not retreat. Fight. Ye Xuan walked faster and faster. Wherever he went, his battle intent swept across like a violent wind, raising clouds of dust and forming a huge dust storm around him. But before him were several thousand black-armored cavalrymen, and their momentum was countless times more terrifying than his. Even so, there was no fear in Ye Xuan's eyes. On the contrary, he walked even faster. Behind Ye Xuan, a Yu stared blankly at the young man walking toward the black-armored cavalry. When Ye Xuan was still around 100 zhang from the cavalry, the leading middle-aged man suddenly raised his right hand. In the next instant, the several thousand black-armored cavalrymen stopped. They stopped neatly with no disorder at all. The middle-aged man looked toward a place more than 100 zhang beyond Ye Xuan. There a young woman was slowly riding a horse over. She wore silver soft armor. Her long hair was tied into a ponytail behind her head. A golden saber hung at her waist. She did not have a face beautiful enough to topple cities, but her eyes were sharp as blades. She rode slowly toward them, unhurried and calm, silver armor, golden saber. The expressions of the several thousand black-armored cavalrymen all changed. In all of Jiang Kingdom, there was only one person who wore silver armor and carried a golden saber at her waist. The 9th princess, known as a military genius of Jiang Kingdom. She was also the person Tang Kingdom feared most, not only Tang Kingdom. It should be said that all the surrounding countries feared her. The 9th princess of Jiang Kingdom and An Lanxiu were known as the two peerless prides of Jiang Kingdom. Both were legends. Facing several thousand black-armored cavalrymen, the leading middle-aged man withdrew his gaze. He looked deeply at Ye Xuan not far away, then turned and led the several thousand cavalrymen away, disappearing into the horizon. They came quickly and left just as quickly. Ye Xuan was stunned. Had they been scared away by him? Thinking this, Ye Xuan could not help feeling a little proud. At that moment, the mysterious woman's voice sounded in his mind. I suddenly discovered that your skin is thicker than the earth, Ye Xuan. At that moment, the silver-armored woman had arrived before Ye Xuan. She looked at him calmly. Ye Xuan was not stupid. Naturally, he understood that those cavalrymen had likely retreated because of this woman. Ye Xuan curiously looked her over. She did not possess An Lanxiu's peerless beauty, but she had a special aura that he had never seen before. Especially her eyes, they were like sharp sabers. Even he found it difficult to resist that piercing gaze. But that feeling only lasted an instant before vanishing. In this life, Ye Xuan only had people he respected. There was no one he feared. Ye Xuan met her gaze without fear. His gaze was different from hers. The silver-armored woman's gaze was too sharp, aggressive, and made people afraid to look directly at her. Ye Xuan's gaze, however, was very calm, like a small hill brushed by a light wind. The silver-armored woman withdrew her gaze. Follow me into the city. After saying that, she turned and walked toward the distant city gate. Ye Xuan shrugged, then looked at a Yu beside him. Let us go. A Yu nodded lightly and followed closely beside Ye Xuan. The silver-armored woman led them to the tightly closed city gate. She glanced at it. In the next instant, a strange afterimage suddenly appeared before the gate. In a flash, the gate was sliced into several pieces. That afterimage silently retreated behind her. Seeing this, Ye Xuan's expression became serious, terrifying strength. The person who had acted just now was at least above the Skysoar realm. Ye Xuan looked again at the silver-armored woman, his eyes full of curiosity. Who exactly was this woman? The silver-armored woman brought Ye Xuan and a Yu into the city. At this moment, the city lord of Two Realms City and those soldiers immediately rushed over. The fat city lord angrily pointed at the silver-armored woman and asked, Who are you? You. As he spoke, his gaze fell on the golden saber at her waist. The instant he saw the saber, he froze. The next moment, his entire body trembled violently. Under countless shocked gazes, he slowly knelt and said in a trembling voice, Greetings, 9th princess. 9th princess. The moment he said this, everyone around turned to stone. The 9th princess. The youngest commander since Jiang Kingdom's founding, a legend of Jiang Kingdom alongside An Lanxiu. Han Xianmeng, who stood nearby, was also stunned. Then she hurriedly pulled the old man over to the silver-armored woman. Lu Xiaoran was also dazed for a while before he hurried to the silver-armored woman and bowed respectfully. City Lord of Tianqian City, Lu Xiaoran greets the 9th princess. The silver-armored woman glanced at Lu Xiaoran. City Lord Lu, although Two Realms City is not under your jurisdiction, you are still a person of Jiang Kingdom. This time Tang Kingdom invaded, yet you did not intervene. You deserve punishment. I will fine you 5 years of salary. You will take full responsibility for the funeral matters of the dead in the city. Lu Xiaoran bowed deeply. This subordinate willingly accepts punishment. Han Xianmeng came before the silver-armored woman and bowed. Han Xianmeng of Drunken Immortal Tower greets the 9th princess. The silver-armored woman looked at Han Xianmeng indifferently and said earlier, If you had been willing to say even a few words for the people in the city, I guarantee you would have risen rapidly within your drunken immortal tower. Unfortunately, as someone of Jiang Kingdom, you did not have even the slightest heart for your country. What qualification does such a person have to be considered one of Jiang Kingdom's people? From this moment onward, you are no longer a person of Jiang Kingdom. If drunken immortal tower dares let you manage its affairs in Jiang Kingdom, I will be the first to refuse. Hearing this, Han Xiangmeng's face turned deathly pale. Originally, she had still held a trace of hope. The third Tower Lord had told her to go to the imperial capital, which was actually giving her a chance. But now, with a single sentence, this woman had severed all of her chances. Drunken immortal tower would not offend someone with overwhelming power for her sake, because she was not worth it. The silver-armored woman then turned to the city lord of Two Realm City and the soldiers kneeling not far away. Tang Kingdom attacked. The city lord of Two Realm City feared death and did not come out, allowing the people in the city to be slaughtered. His crime cannot be forgiven. Sentence him to death by slow slicing. The remaining soldiers shall receive 50 heavy strikes. After recovering from their injuries, they will be assigned to the death squad. In future battles against Tang Kingdom, they may earn merit and redeem today's crime. Take them away. Hearing this, the city lord of Two Realms City immediately fainted. As soon as the silver-armored woman finished speaking, several black-robed people silently appeared and dragged the city lord and the soldiers away. The silver-armored woman turned and looked at Ye Xuan. Earlier, no one in the city dared fight, but you dared. Why? Ye Xuan looked straight at her and replied, although I am not from Two Realm City, I am a person of Jiang Kingdom. Seeing my countrymen humiliated like that, I could not endure it, so I acted. The silver-armored woman nodded slightly, a trace of appreciation in her eyes. If all men of Jiang Kingdom were like you, what need would there be to fear a mere Tang Kingdom? Join my army, become an adjutant general. What do you think? Hearing this, the expressions of Han Xiangmeng and Lu Xiaoran both changed. The ninth princess valued Ye Xuan. To become an adjutant general as soon as he entered the army, this treatment was far too good. One had to know that an adjutant general had hundreds of soldiers under his command. An adjutant general, Ye Xuan was stunned, then he shook his head. Refusal. Lu Xiaoran, standing nearby, wanted to speak but hesitated. He knew very well that if Ye Xuan agreed, it meant that from now on, the ninth princess would stand behind him. This was an enormous opportunity. Han Xiangmeng was also somewhat surprised, but when she thought of the sword immortal behind Ye Xuan, she felt it was normal. How could this fellow care about a mere adjutant general position? Seeing Ye Xuan refuse, the silver-armored woman asked, "You are unwilling?" Ye Xuan nodded. "I still have many things to do. Right now, I do not want to join the army." The ninth princess nodded lightly. "I will not force you. But in view of your merit today, I will keep this position open for you for the time being. If you wish to join my army in the future, you may come at any time." After saying that, she was about to turn and leave. At that moment, a Yu who had been standing at the side suddenly knelt before the ninth princess. This commoner requests to join the army. The ninth princess glanced at a Yu. "Do you know how bitter it is to join the army?" A Yu clenched both fists. No matter how bitter, this commoner is not afraid. The ninth princess looked at a Yu for a long while, then nodded, "Follow me." After saying that, she rode away. A Yu stood, turned to look at Ye Xuan, and said, "Remember, my name is a Yu." After speaking, she turned and chased after the silver-armored woman. "Brother." At this moment, Ye Lion ran to Ye Xuan's side and tightly hugged his arm, afraid that Ye Xuan would not see her. Ye Xuan lightly patted her small arm and smiled. "It's all right. Big brother is fine." After saying that, he looked at Lu Xiaoran. "Senior Lu, that person just now is the ninth princess of our Jiang Kingdom." Lu Xiaoran nodded. "It is her." Hearing this, Ye Xuan turned and glanced toward the end of the distant road, the ninth princess. Naturally, he had also heard of the person who was known as one of Jiang Kingdom's two peerless prides, alongside An Lanxiu. As if thinking of something, Ye Xuan asked, "Senior Lu, this city is an important place for our country. Why does our country not send heavy troops to guard it?" Lu Xiaoran replied softly previously. "Our country and Tang Kingdom signed a ceasefire agreement. Also to avoid escalating the conflict between the two countries. Therefore, the higher-ups have never sent heavy troops here to guard it. Once heavy troops are sent here, that means war is coming. But our country's weakness and concession have only made Tang Kingdom push further and further. Now that the 9th princess has come, I fear war will arrive early. War. Ye Xuan had never experienced it, but he understood it very clearly. If war began, many people would die. If possible, it was better not to fight. Half an hour later, everyone boarded the flying ship again. The flying ship started up and rode the wind away. Behind them, Two Realm City became smaller and smaller. And the imperial capital drew closer and closer. Because there was no entertainment, the days on the flying ship were dull and tasteless. Ye Xuan's daily activities, aside from playing with Ye Lion, consisted only of frantic cultivation. Ever since he had grasped battle intent, he had been able to easily defeat the shadow in sparring. Battle intent. In truth, Ye Xuan did not understand this newly comprehended thing very well. He only knew that when he activated it during battle, his strength increased greatly. Moreover, the more he fought, the stronger he became. This discovery excited him so much that he trembled. The only pity was that it was not sword intent. Otherwise, he would have become a true sword Dao Grandmaster instead of only a quasi-sword Dao Grandmaster. On the other hand, although he had comprehended battle intent, he still could not call himself a martial Dao Grandmaster, because his understanding of the martial Dao was not very deep. Sword intent and battle intent were both symbols of the identities of sword Dao Grandmaster and martial Dao Grandmaster. But comprehending them did not necessarily mean one was truly a Grandmaster. There were many subtleties here. It could only be said that Ye Xuan had now comprehended an intent realm that he should not yet have comprehended. After that, he still needed to pass through an intermediate process. Of course, becoming a martial Dao Grandmaster was now only a matter of time. Strictly speaking, once one reached the Imperial Kai realm and could control Kai, one could already be considered a martial Dao Grandmaster. As for how strong that person was, it depended on how deeply they understood the martial Dao. No matter what, he was satisfied this time. Sword heart clarity and battle intent. The thing he wanted to do most now was fight the woman in snow-white robes and Lanxiu. You are not her opponent right now. As if reading Ye Xuan's thoughts, the mysterious woman immediately spoke. When she first fought you, she not only suppressed her realm but also suppressed certain special abilities. In short, she is passable. Ye Xuan's expression became strange. Senior, in your eyes, she is only worthy of the word passable. The woman replied indifferently, being passable in my eyes is already enough for her to look down upon countless geniuses beneath the heavens. Ye Xuan's curiosity rose, then Senior must have been very powerful in the past, right? Guess. The mysterious woman continued, boy, seeing how much you love your sister, I will give you a few words. In this world, talent and physique are all fleeting clouds. From ancient times until now, countless people with ordinary mortal bodies have rivaled gods. Martial Dao, Sword Dao, and the thousands of Daos in this world have no end. Having physique and talent only gives a small advantage. How far one can continue depends on perseverance and temperament. Ye Xuan fell silent. Perseverance and temperament. He understood the former because he had relied on it to survive with his sister until this day. But he did not really understand temperaments. He only knew that when he acted, he did not ask whether it was right or wrong. He only followed his own heart. If he felt it was right, he did it. If he felt it was wrong, he did not. Things in this world rarely went according to one's wishes. It was enough not to be ashamed before one's own heart. The mysterious woman continued, now that you have comprehended battle intent, you can study some martial Dao so you do not waste it. As for the martial Dao itself, you must explore and learn it yourself. Ye Xuan was stunned and quickly said, Senior, do you not understand martial Dao? It is not that I do not understand. It is that I understand too much. In the future, whether it is martial Dao or sword Dao, you must study it yourself. I can only guide you when you are lost in the darkness. She paused briefly, then continued, the path others walk is not your path, do not imitate them. Only the path you walk yourself, and the things you comprehend yourself truly belong to you. Just like this battle intent, you comprehended it from your own choice. If I had told you how to do it, you would never have comprehended it. In many cases, deliberate pursuit only makes things go too far. Heavens, I cannot believe I am explaining such basic things to you. Hurry up and enter that academy, stop bothering me, Ye Xuan. He understood what the mysterious woman meant, so he did not disturb her again. It was like hearing someone else say that climbing a mountain was tiring and difficult. You would not truly feel it. Only when you personally experienced it would you know where it was tiring and where it was difficult. Martial Dao and Sword Dao were the same. He could only understand their difficulties through personal experience. A while later, Ye Xuan left the World Prison Tower. Coincidentally, the little fatty Lu Ming had come to his room to play. Ever since Ye Xuan had displayed his power in Two Realms City, the little boy's worship of him had risen to the point of madness. For someone who already admired sword cultivators, the fact that Ye Xuan had stepped forward at that moment made his image in Lu Ming's eyes no different from a towering tree. It could only be called worship, extreme worship. The little fatty was also familiar with the place by now. After entering the room, he placed a pile of fruit on the table in front of Ye Xuan and Ye Lion. He grinned. Big brother, sister Lion, eat, they are delicious. The Ye siblings looked at each other and smiled. Lu Xiaoran also walked in. He cupped his fists to Ye Xuan and smiled. Am I disturbing you? Ye Xuan replied, of course not. Senior Lu, please sit. The two children obediently stepped aside as Lu Xiaoran sat down. He said, there is only half a day left before we reach the imperial capital. I wonder if young friend has acquaintances there. Ye Xuan shook his head. He knew no one in the imperial capital. Lu Xiaoran smiled. The imperial capital is a place where dragons and snakes are mixed together. If young friend does not mind, you may temporarily stay at my residence. After you enter Kangmu Academy, you may decide where to live. What do you think? Ye Xuan thought briefly, then nodded. Then I will trouble senior. As the saying went, one more friend meant one more path. Since the other party had good intentions, why should he refuse? Seeing Ye Xuan agree, Lu Xiaoran's smile deepened. As the lord of a city, he naturally possessed great authority. His reason for befriending Ye Xuan was naturally that he admired Ye Xuan's potential. Lu Xiaoran only stayed for a while before taking the little fatty Lu Ming away, leaving Ye Xuan and Ye Lion in the room. Ye Lion gently sat beside her brother and whispered, Big brother, was it because of me that you refused to become an adjutant general? Seeing Ye Xuan look at her, the little girl continued, I asked little fatty. He said an adjutant general is a very high position. It is an official post, big brother, yet you refused it. Why are you so silly? Ye Xuan gently rubbed her head. If I became an adjutant general, what would happen to you? Ye Lion looked at him. I am your burden, right? Ye Xuan shook his head. You are the most important person in my life. For you, I can do anything. For you, I can give up anything. He held the little girl's hand tightly. Without you, even if I became a sword immortal, it would be meaningless. Two streams of tears rolled down Ye Lion's cheeks. She said nothing, only hugged Ye Xuan tightly. After a while, she fell asleep. Ye Xuan looked at his sister on the bed, his face heavy as water. Ye Lion was sleeping much more than before. Although the heavenly fire-warm jade helped reduce the cold, her condition was not truly improving, because her face was becoming paler and paler. Ye Lion usually spoke very little, but Ye Xuan knew that was because she did not want to make him worry. He gently covered his sister with a blanket, then left the room and went to the deck. Standing at the bow, he raised his head and looked into the distance. The sun was about to set in the west, dyeing the sky crimson like a layer of red silk covering the Tiantian range below. They were almost at the imperial capital. Young friend, Lu Xiaoran's voice sounded. Ye Xuan turned and saw that he had walked over with a smile. Young friend, you look very eager to arrive at the imperial capital. Ye Xuan nodded. Senior, can you tell me a little about Kangmu Academy? Lu Xiaoran nodded. Kangmu Academy is not a power belonging only to Jiang Kingdom, like Drunken Immortal Tower. It is spread across many countries. The reason it is so warmly welcomed, aside from its powerful tutors and cultivation resources, is because of the status it symbolizes. As long as one enters the academy, one carries the label of genius. In the future, wherever that person goes, powers everywhere will try to recruit them. As he spoke, he smiled. People of Kangmu Academy are welcomed everywhere, even by the royal family. For children of common families, it is a shortcut to changing fate. For children of royal families and noble clans, the Academy's identity is a form of guarantee. Moreover, after entering, they can befriend many geniuses. You must understand that in the imperial capital, connections are extremely important. Ye Xuan nodded lightly and asked, "Then did national scholar An Lanxiu come from Kangmu Academy?" Unexpectedly, Lu Xiaoran shook his head. National scholar and did not. Ye Xuan was surprised. Why? Lu Xiaoran smiled. The academy master personally went to invite her to join, but I heard she refused. Refused? Ye Xuan was stunned. Why? Lu Xiaoran shook his head. Because Kangmu Academy had no tutor capable of teaching her. More accurately, she was already capable of teaching others. Asking her to join the academy would have lowered her status, would it not? Ye Xuan. Lu Xiaoran continued. Although she did not join, Kangmu Academy still gave her the title of honorary tutor. Although she has no real authority. Everyone in the academy must salute her when they see her. Except for the academy master and certain important figures. He paused slightly. As far as I know, the background behind National Scholar is also not simple, but that is not something we should concern ourselves with. Ye Xuan nodded. Senior, I heard Kangmu Academy has the best physicians. Is that true? Lu Xiaoran nodded. I would not dare say they are absolutely the best, but their medical methods can be considered the best in our Jiang Kingdom. Even imperial physicians from the palace often go there for advice, and quite a few imperial physicians even came from there. These words calmed Ye Xuan's anxious heart. He looked into the distance, beyond the mountain range. It was as if he could already see the faint outline of an ancient and majestic city, the imperial capital. The imperial capital, the center of power of Jiang Kingdom, and the most prosperous place in Jiang Kingdom. It was also the place where countless young people chased their dreams. The flying ship drew closer and closer to the imperial capital, and the city became clearer and clearer. Lu Xiaoran said beside Ye Xuan, young friend Ye Xuan, the imperial capital is filled with dragons and snakes. You must be flexible in all matters. Otherwise there may be many troubles. Ye Xuan nodded, I will not cause trouble. Lu Xiaoran shook his head with a smile. It is not that I am afraid you will cause trouble. It is that this place truly has dragons and snakes mixed together. Even as a city lord, when I come here, I must be careful in every step, afraid of offending someone I should not offend. After saying that, he looked at Ye Xuan. Young friend Ye Xuan, in this place, not causing trouble is not enough. If possible, you should make more acquaintances. It will be very beneficial to you, make friends. Ye Xuan nodded. Naturally, he understood the benefits of having more friends. The flying ship drew closer and closer to the imperial capital. From their current position, they could already see it clearly. The imperial capital was not extremely vast, with about 1 million people, and the city walls were ancient, clearly possessing a long history. But it was extremely prosperous. Before they even approached, many flying ships were already entering the area around the imperial capital, and many were leaving. Ye Xuan looked at the horizon and said softly, it is truly lively. Lu Xiaoran smiled. It will be even livelier once we enter. Ye Xuan nodded. He was also somewhat amazed by the imperial capital before him. When the flying ship was about 1,000 zhang from the imperial capital, it suddenly stopped, then slowly descended. Below the flying ship was a great river. At least dozens of flying ships were docked in the river, a truly magnificent sight. At this moment a voice rang out. We have arrived at the imperial capital. Passengers, please prepare to disembark. Ye Xuan turned and returned to his room. Seeing that Ye Lion was still asleep, he did not wake her. He carried her on his back and walked to the deck. Lu Xiaoran glanced at Ye Xuan and smiled. Young friend Ye Xuan, come to my residence first. Ye Xuan nodded, then I will trouble you. Hearing Ye Xuan's words, the little fatty Lu Ming immediately became overjoyed. Coming to the imperial capital alone had originally been very boring for him. Now that two people would accompany him, he was naturally happy. The flying ship slowly descended. Before long, it landed steadily on the great river. A large staircase was set beside the ship, and countless people walked down. After carrying his sister off the flying ship, Ye Xuan followed Lu Xiaoran toward the city gate not far away. On the flying ship, Han Xiangmeng watched Ye Xuan's back and said softly, "I fear Kangmu Academy will not be peaceful soon." An old man beside Han Xiangmeng said in a heavy voice, "Why does Miss not try to win him over?" Han Xiangmeng shook her head. "I already missed the best opportunity. If I try to get close to him now, I will only humiliate myself." After saying that, she raised her head and looked toward the distant imperial capital. "Now, only by entering Kangmu Academy do I still have a little hope." Beneath the city gate, Ye Xuan looked at the gate before him with a trace of emotion. Only now did he realize how small King City was. King City's gate was not even 1/10 the size of the gate before him. This was a true city. King City could not even be considered a city. After entering the gate, Ye Xuan's first impression was large. The main road beneath his feet was at least 20 zhang wide. The buildings on both sides were arranged in layers, yet there was no sense of crowding. Everything felt spacious and comfortable. His second impression was liveliness. Inside the city, carriages and horses flowed like water, and voices surged everywhere. If one spoke too quietly, it would be difficult to hear. At this moment, Ye Lion had also awakened. Ye Lion looked around in surprise. "Brother, this place is much livelier than our king city." Ye Xuan smiled, then looked at Lu Xiaoran. "Senior Lu, where is Kangmu Academy?" Lu Xiaoran smiled. "Young friend, do not be anxious. Kangmu Academy will only begin recruitment in about 10 days. At the current stage, Kangmu Academy does not welcome outsiders. Therefore, going there now has no meaning. Stay at my residence first, rest for a few days, prepare properly, then go to Kangmu Academy together with my son. What do you think?" Ye Xuan nodded. Of course, under Lu Xiaoran's lead, the group arrived at a mansion. The mansion was very large and luxurious. This was normal because Lu Xiaoran was, after all, the lord of a city. Lu Xiaoran arranged a separate courtyard for Ye Xuan and Ye Lion, and even sent 3 maids there, making Ye Xuan feel somewhat embarrassed. But less than half an hour after entering the courtyard, Ye Lion fell asleep again. Seeing this, Ye Xuan's heart sank. There were 12 double hours in a day, and Ye Lion slept through 9 of them. This was definitely abnormal. After covering Ye Lion with a blanket, Ye Xuan left the room and walked into the courtyard. About 10 days. Now Kangmu Academy was his hope. But he was still somewhat worried, because he had not yet reached the Imperial Kai realm. And Kangmu Academy's lowest recruitment standard was the Imperial Kai realm. As if thinking of something, he took out a white jade pendant. It was the pendant An Lanxiu had given him. If there was truly no other choice, he could only use this pendant, though he very much wanted to enter Kangmu Academy by relying on his own strength. Spirit swords. Ye Xuan knew that after entering Kangmu Academy, he had to begin collecting spirit swords. Unlike others, to raise his realm, he had to find spirit swords and devour them. But how precious were spirit swords? Even if they existed, how expensive would they be? With his current wealth, he probably could not even afford a hair from one. Only now did he truly feel how difficult cultivation was for ordinary people. Cultivation. Ye Xuan entered the world prison tower. He no longer fought the shadow because the shadow was no longer his match. What he wanted to do now was control battle intent. He still had not completely mastered this vague battle intent. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, less than 2 days remained before Kangmu Academy's recruitment. Inside the world prison tower, Ye Xuan clenched both fists. Invisible power continuously trembled around his hands. Battle intent. Now, he no longer needed one sword decides life and death to fight a Skysword realm expert. With this battle intent alone, he could risk his life against a Skysword realm expert. But whether he could win, even he did not know. The only pity was that what he had comprehended was not sword intent. Otherwise, when facing a Skysword realm expert now, he truly would not feel any pressure. Half an hour later, Ye Xuan left the world prison tower. Lu Xiaoran had come to their small courtyard. Seeing Ye Xuan, Lu Xiaoran smiled. Have you been used to staying here recently? Ye Xuan smiled and replied, to be honest, my sister and I have never lived in such a good place before. Lu Xiaoran laughed loudly. Young friend, you truly know how to joke. Right, there is a banquet tonight. If young friend has time, bring your sister with me, a banquet. Ye Xuan was stunned, then asked, what kind of banquet? Lu Xiaoran smiled. The first prince of the imperial capital is hosting a banquet. Every time Kangmu Academy recruits students, people from all over Jiang Kingdom come to the imperial capital. Naturally, the Jiang Kingdom royal family will not disregard these geniuses. Therefore, His Majesty usually sends a prince to welcome them on his behalf. Ye Xuan thought silently for a while, then said, I suppose not just anyone can attend. Lu Xiaoran nodded, of course. Only people with status and strength are qualified to attend this banquet. Or to put it another way, those who can attend are almost 100% capable of entering Kangmu Academy. Otherwise, they would not be invited. Ye Xuan smiled bitterly. Senior, I did not receive an invitation. Lu Xiaoran said seriously, young friend, just come with me, I will invite you. If possible, it is better to make this trip. The people attending are all monstrous geniuses. If you can become acquainted with a few, it will benefit you. What do you think? Ye Xuan thought for a moment, then nodded. Just as Lu Xiaoran said, getting to know a few people was not bad. A sword cultivator did not necessarily have to be lonely and alone. Moreover, he also wanted to see the monstrous geniuses of Jiang Kingdom. Lu Xiaoran nodded and smiled. Then young friend should prepare a little. We will live together shortly. After saying that, he turned and left. Ye Xuan returned to the room. At this moment, Ye Lian had also awakened. Ye Xuan walked before Ye Lian, gently rubbed her cheek and said softly, do not sleep anymore. Big brother will take you to eat your fill. Ye Lian blinked, then revealed a brilliant smile. All right. Ye Xuan lightly pinched Ye Lian's nose. Go wash your face, we will leave immediately. Half an hour later, Lu Xiaoran led the two Yi siblings out of the mansion together with a group of people. The group soon arrived before a restaurant in the center of the city, Immortal Guest Tower. Immortal Guest Tower could be called the largest restaurant in the imperial capital. It occupied nearly 1,000 square meters, with 6 floors in total. Its exterior was gilded and extremely luxurious. This restaurant was also a property of Drunken Immortal Tower. When Ye Xuan and Ye Lian saw the restaurant, both siblings were shocked. When had they ever seen such a luxurious restaurant? Forget them, even the little fatty Lu Ming was somewhat shocked. Tianjin City had no restaurant this large. Seeing the expressions of the three, Lu Xiaoran laughed loudly. This is not even the largest one. In the future, when you travel more, you will discover that the world is vast and full of all kinds of wonders. Ye Xuan nodded, he deeply agreed. Fortunately, he had left King City. Otherwise, he would have been a frog at the bottom of a well for the rest of his life. Lu Xiaoran led the three into Immortal Guest Tower. A beautiful young woman immediately came out to greet them. Is this city Lord Lu? Lu Xiaoran nodded. The woman smiled sweetly. There is still half an hour before the banquet begins. The first prince has arranged some entertainment for City Lord Lu. Would City Lord Lu like to try? Hearing this, Lu Xiaoran's face reddened. He quickly shook his head, no need. Take me to meet the first prince. The woman nodded and led Lu Xiaoran and Ye Xuan's group upstairs. When they reached the 4th floor, Ye Xuan and Ye Lian were stunned by the scene before them. The 4th floor was an extremely vast hall, even larger than the Yi family's residence. The interior was also extremely luxurious. Everything around them shone with gold and splendor like a palace. Even beneath their feet was a thick layer of beast hide. It felt soft and comfortable to walk on. Tusk. The little fatty Lu Ming stepped on the beast hide underfoot and sighed. Father, this is red tiger hide. One piece of this beast hide is worth at least several hundred gold coins, right? There must be tens of thousands of pieces here. Damn it, this drunken immortal tower is richer than our family. Hearing this, Ye Xuan and Ye Lian looked at each other. Ye Xuan smiled and shook his head. Poverty truly limits Big Brother's imagination. Lu Xiaoran smiled. Young friend, drunken immortal tower can be said to be the richest power in the whole country. Even the royal family is not as wealthy as them. After saying that, he looked into the distance, then said, young friend, wait here for a moment. I will go and return shortly. After speaking, he quickly walked away. At that moment, a young man walked over and cupped his fists to Ye Xuan. Is this brother newly arrived? Ye Xuan nodded and returned the salute, newly arrived. The young man said, I am Yu Bu-er, heir of the Yu family of Chuan City. May I ask who this brother is? Ye Xuan smiled. Ye Xuan of King City, a wandering cultivator, a wandering cultivator. The young man was slightly stunned. Then he looked Ye Xuan over for a while. You are a wandering cultivator, Ye Xuan nodded, that's right. The young man's expression became cold. Sorry to disturb you. After saying that, he turned and left Ye Xuan. The young man walked to one side and cupped his fists toward another man. I am Yu Bu-er, heir of the Yu family of Chuan City. Who is this brother? The man returned the salute. I am Mo Zio, heir of the Mo family of Yu City. Hearing this, the young man was immediately startled. The Mo family with dozens of gold mines. The man nodded, that's right. The young man grabbed the man's arm and smiled. Brother Mo, today you and I seem like old friends at first meeting. Come, let us drink a few cups. Seeing this, Ye Xuan and Ye Lion were both stunned. A moment later, Ye Xuan shook his head and smiled, a familiar feeling. It had been the same in King City. Only those with value were approached by others, and those with value would only associate with others who had value. Lu Ming, standing beside Ye Xuan, said angrily, Big brother, that fellow is looking down on people. Do you need me to vent anger for you? Ye Xuan glanced at the little fatty and shook his head with a smile. Things of the same kind gather together, it is very normal. The little fatty still wanted to say something, but at that moment, Lu Xiaoran walked over. In front of him was a man in a yellow robe, about 25 or 26 years old. He had handsome features and carried a trace of authority between his brows. The man came before Ye Xuan, looked him over for a moment and smiled. This is brother Ye Xuan. Ye Xuan looked toward Lu Xiaoran. Lu Xiaoran quickly said, young friend Ye Xuan, this is the first prince of our Jiang Kingdom, Jiang Niansheng, the first prince. Ye Xuan was slightly stunned, then cupped his fists to the first prince. Ye Xuan of King City, neither humble nor arrogant. The first prince nodded and smiled. Since brother Ye Xuan is someone City Lord Lu values, after today we should naturally become closer. Ye Xuan was about to speak when an excited voice suddenly rang out. Mo Suiking has arrived, Mo Suiking. Hearing this voice, everyone present immediately looked toward the staircase. The first prince before Ye Xuan also looked toward the staircase. He adjusted his clothes, then walked over. Seeing this, Lu Xiaoran wanted to speak, but in the end said nothing. Naturally, he was on the first prince's side, and this time he had wanted to introduce Ye Xuan to the first prince. In order not to make Ye Xuan uncomfortable, he had not revealed too much information about Ye Xuan. Now, seeing the first prince so calm, he wanted to say a few more words. But thinking that Ye Xuan was a sword cultivator and would dislike such things most, he said nothing. If the introduction failed, that was fine. But if it made Ye Xuan uncomfortable, the loss would be greater than the gain. Under everyone's gaze, a woman walked up from the staircase. She was about 20 years old and wore a fiery red dress. She was tall and extremely slender. Her appearance was also exceptionally beautiful, with phoenix eyes and delicate brows, her face white and smooth like jade. Especially her large eyes, they were like stars in the night sky. One glance could make a person sink into them, very beautiful. Even Ye Xuan looked a few more times. He did not reject beautiful things. But it was only appreciation, he had no other thoughts. Ye Xuan withdrew his gaze and looked at Lu Xiaoran beside him. Senior, who is she? Lu Xiaoran smiled. Mo Suiking, the most beautiful woman in the imperial capital. The most beautiful woman in the imperial capital. Ye Xuan was stunned, then subconsciously said, what about An Lanxiu? Although the woman before him was beautiful enough to topple cities, saying that she was more beautiful than An Lanxiu seemed excessive. Lu Xiaoran smiled. National scholar and is not famous because of her appearance. People's impression of her is not her appearance either. Young friend, do you understand? Hearing this, Ye Xuan understood. When Mo Suiking appeared, everyone's eyes focused on her. Everyone surrounded her like stars encircling the moon. Lu Xiaoran suddenly said beside Ye Xuan, Mo Suiking is not only beautiful. Behind her is the Mo family, an ancient noble family that even the royal family must be wary of. Right now, the two princes of Jiang Kingdom are both competing for the position of crown prince. Whoever can marry her will almost certainly grasp the crown prince position. Unfortunately, Mo Suiking is extremely picky. She once said that no man in Jiang Kingdom was worthy of her. At that moment, Ye Lion suddenly said beside Ye Xuan, I think my brother can. Ye Xuan glanced at Ye Lion. Your brother is only a treasure in your heart. In others' eyes, I am afraid he may not even be worth a blade of grass. Ye Lion smiled sweetly and hugged Ye Xuan's arm tightly. In the little girl's heart, her brother was worthy of everyone in the world. Lu Xiaoran laughed loudly. Young friend, do not belittle yourself. You are young and talented. If you have the intention, anything is possible. He did not know who stood behind Ye Xuan, but he knew one thing. After Ye Xuan killed an elder of Drunken Immortal Tower, he was still safe, and afterward even Tower Lord Han of Drunken Immortal Tower had died. Ye Xuan shook his head and smiled. He glanced at Mo Suiking in the distance. This woman was proud and looked down on everyone. He would not invite humiliation upon himself. In his view, for two people to be together, what mattered most should be feeling and personality. Talent and potential were also necessary. But if affection was built upon talent, potential, family status, and background, then it had no meaning at all. That would be like saying, you love me only because I have money. If I had no money, you would not love me. What meaning would such affection have? The banquet was about to begin. Ye Xuan, Ye Lion, Lu Xiaoran, and the little fatty sat at their own table. The table was filled with all kinds of dishes, and more were constantly being served. The two Ye siblings and the little fatty ate like they had forgotten heaven and earth. He and his sister had lived hard lives and had truly never eaten delicacies before. As for the little fatty, he was simply greedy. Everyone around them was making acquaintances or toasting one another. Only their table was eating madly. Seeing this, Lu Xiaoran shook his head with a bitter smile, but he had no choice. He understood his son's temperament better than anyone. If he made the little fatty go speak false polite words, the boy would not be able to do it and might even offend people. As for Ye Xuan, in Lu Xiaoran's eyes, Ye Xuan was extremely proud and unwilling to befriend others. In truth, Lu Xiaoran had no idea that every time Ye Xuan said he was a wandering cultivator, everyone ran away. Ye Xuan was helpless too, damn it. Before making friends, they asked what your family did. Wasn't he that just asking for trouble? A while later, Lu Xiaoran turned toward the distance and said, you three eat first. A few old acquaintances have arrived, I will go greet them. The three of them did not answer him. Lu Xiaoran shook his head with a smile, stood and left. Ye Lion picked up a large chicken drumstick for Ye Xuan. Brother, nourish yourself more. After saying that, she picked up a stalk of cabbage and placed it into the little fatty's bowl. Little fatty, you need to lose weight. Vegetables are delicious, eat more. The little fatty glanced at the vegetables in his bowl and complained, Sister Lion, you are so unfair. Hearing this, Ye Lion giggled. She then picked up a piece of braised pork and placed it into Ye Xuan's bowl. Brother, this is delicious. It is very soft. The little fatty watched from the side, speechless. HMPH. After I go back, I will definitely tell mother to give birth to a little sister for me. No, two little sisters. Ye Xuan and Ye Lion looked at each other. The next second, both siblings smiled. On the other side, beside Mo Suiking, was a veiled woman. This woman was Han Xiangmeng, who had arrived not long ago. Although Han Xiangmeng was chatting with Mo Suiking, she occasionally looked toward Ye Xuan in the distance. She had not expected Ye Xuan to appear here. Sensing Han Xiangmeng's gaze, Mo Suiking glanced toward Ye Xuan and asked, Xiangmeng, do you know that person? Han Xiangmeng nodded lightly. Mo Suiking smiled. Someone who can draw your attention like this is certainly not simple. Tell me which family's young master is he? Han Xiangmeng shook her head. We only spoke once or twice, we are not very familiar. Mo Suiking curved her lips and smiled like a fox. Not very familiar, yet you keep looking at him. What have you fallen for him? After saying that, she glanced at Ye Xuan in the distance. He looks acceptable, your taste is passable. Han Xiangmeng shook her head. Do not speak nonsense, I only dealt with him twice. I simply did not expect him to appear here. Mo Suiking looked around and smiled. It is not strange for him to appear here. This place has geniuses from the various cities of Jiang Kingdom. Coming here to meet a few people is extremely beneficial. In today's society, aside from one's own strength, one must also speak of connections, right? Han Xiangmeng asked softly, have you seen him go make friends with anyone? Mo Suiking was slightly stunned. She glanced at Ye Xuan again and said somewhat surprised, now that you mention it, he does seem somewhat special. Han Xiangmeng shook her head. Let us not speak of him, his matters have nothing to do with us. Mo Suiking shook her head repeatedly, I am somewhat interested. Come, let us go take a look. Han Xiangmeng's expression changed slightly. She quickly said, Suiking, do not provoke him. He, provoke? Mo Suiking smiled, you use such a strange word. I feel you are somewhat afraid of him, what exactly happened? Han Xiangmeng was about to speak when Mo Suiking suddenly said, forget it. He is making me more and more curious, come, go meet him with me. After saying this, she pulled Han Xiangmeng toward Ye Xuan's table. Naturally, the two women's actions attracted the attention of countless people. Seeing them walk to Ye Xuan's table, everyone looked toward him. Curiosity. Of course they were curious about Ye Xuan's identity. There were not many people who could draw Mo Suiking's attention. Mo Suiking looked at Ye Xuan and smiled, there is no one here. You do not mind if we sisters sit here, do you? Ye Xuan looked at the two women. Naturally he knew Han Xiangmeng, but he did not understand what these two wanted. Without waiting for Ye Xuan to answer, Mo Suiking had already pulled Han Xiangmeng down to sit. She looked at Ye Xuan. May I ask how to address young master? Which noble family do you come from? Ye Xuan put down his chopsticks and cupped his fists. Ye Xuan, a wandering cultivator, a wandering cultivator. Mo Suiking became even more interested. Only a wandering cultivator? Ye Xuan nodded. Only a wandering cultivator, Mo Suiking smiled. A wandering cultivator is not qualified to come here. Ye Xuan replied, we only followed City Lord Lu here to eat for free. Eat for free. Hearing Ye Xuan's words, the people around immediately burst into laughter. Mo Suiking also smiled. This is the first time I have met someone who came here to eat for free. Ye Xuan was silent for a while, then asked Miss Mo, if you have something to say, please speak directly. Everyone was looking this way, and to him, this was not a good thing. He did not want to make enemies for no reason. Mo Suiking smiled, nothing. I only came over to play, is that not allowed? What is it, Ye Xuan? Do you feel I am not worthy to sit at the same table as you? After speaking, she slightly curved her lips. Hearing this, the expressions of the men around immediately changed. One man walked beside Mo Suiking, glanced coldly at Ye Xuan and said, Miss Mo, what is he? How could he be worthy to sit at the same table as you? Boom. At that moment, the little fatty suddenly slammed the table. He angrily pointed at the man who had just spoken. Damn it, what are you? Are you worthy of speaking to my big brother like that? The man narrowed his eyes. Do you want to die? The little fatty was about to speak, but Ye Xuan pulled him back. Then Ye Xuan looked at Mo Suiking. Miss Mo, where have I offended you? Are you trying to draw hatred toward me? Mo Suiking blinked, her expression innocent. Draw hatred, I did no such thing. Young master, do not wrongly accuse me. At this point, she sighed lightly. I saw that young master has an extraordinary bearing and wanted to become friends. I did not expect young master to misunderstand me like this. Sigh. It seems young master ye does not wish to befriend me. Ye Xuan said heavily, but you can see that your words have now made me the enemy of everyone. Mo Suiking's lips curled. That is your problem, is it not? Ye Xuan glanced at Mo Suiking. This woman had clearly come to cause trouble. He stood and pulled the little fatty and Ye Lion with him. Let us go. Ye Lion nodded obediently. She picked up an apple from the table and put it into her bag. because Ye Xuan liked eating fruit after meals. Seeing the three about to leave, Mo Suiking's expression gradually turned cold. Brother Ye gives me no face at all. What do you truly look down on me? The man beside Mo Suiking smiled. Miss Mo, do not lower yourself to the level of such a person. After saying that, he glanced at Ye Lion and mocked. It is one thing to come here and eat for free, but when leaving, you even want to take food away. I have truly never heard or seen such a thing, forget it. For such lowly people, perhaps they can do even lower things. Hearing the man's words, Ye Lion's face turned pale. She quickly placed the apple back on the table. The moment Han Xiangmeng heard the man's words, her expression changed drastically. How had the tragedy on the flying ship happened? It was precisely because of this little girl. As expected, the instant the man finished speaking, Ye Xuan vanished from where he stood like a whirlwind. When he appeared again, he was already before the man. Before the man could react, Ye Xuan punched him in the mouth. Bang. The man immediately flew several zhang away. All the teeth in his mouth fell out and fresh blood sprayed out. Seeing this, everyone around changed expression. He had acted. Someone had actually acted here. Mo Suiking had also not expected the man before her to strike. She looked coldly at Ye Xuan. Young master truly has ability. After sending the man flying, Ye Xuan walked straight before Mo Suiking. A woman like you. Relying on having a little beauty, looking down on everyone, respecting no one. And enjoying playing with the men around you like toys when you see them do stupid things, because of one word or one action from you. Does it make you very happy inside? Forgive me for speaking bluntly, but a woman like you could strip naked and lie in front of me, and I would still have no interest. After saying that, he picked up the apple on the table, then took Ye Lion and the little fatty and turned to leave.